along the darkened hallway. Alone in the whimper.
A light flickering out of the
Corner of your eye.
A tree.
Scratch against the glass.
A hush.
In the wind.
There's one sound to be
There's
heard.
one sound to be heard.
Murder at midnight.
Okay, so welcome to Murder at Midnight. Today's episode is The Milkman by Irene Stuart. A murder mystery set in a small town in England in the mid-60s. It depicts policing before the advent of computers and DNA. Scene 1. Constable James is conducting house-to-house inquiries.
Constable James, sorry to disturb you. We've had a report of screams in this vicinity, possibly a female. Have you heard anything untoward?
I've been asleep. You've just woken me up.
Apologies once again, but we have to follow up any reports, no matter what time of day.
I totally understand. I didn't mean to...
So, have you heard any unusual noise in the last half hour?
Nah, nothing. I fell asleep as soon as my head touched the pillow.
And your name is?
John Long.
What time did you go to bed, Mr. Long?
Around 9:30.
It's rather early.
I'm a milkman. I'm up at 4:30.
I see. Is there anybody else in the house?
My wife, she was fast asleep when I came down to open the door. It's like an earthquake to wake her. I'll come get her if you like. You like to come in?
No, let her sleep, given the ungodly hour. I imagine she'd have woken you if she'd have heard any screams.
Oh, most definitely.
Well, thank you for your time. This is number...
42.
I'll let you get back to bed.
What time is it?
2:20.
I suppose 2 hours sleep's better than none. Yeah, I hope nobody's been hurt.
Good night. Thank you for your time.
Scene 2. 2 weeks later at the local police station. Constable James had just arrived for his shift.
Morning, Sarge. What's new?
Haven't you heard the news?
The baby had us up most of the night. She's teething, then ended up oversleeping. What's happened?
A woman was found floating in the lake by 2 fishermen this morning.
Yeah, my first murder. Sorry, Sarge. I mean, that's assuming it is a murder.
To think, I used to be keen just like you. Now all I want is retirement and my pipe and slippers.
I can't wait to get going. You said it was on the news. How come the hacks have got it already?
One of the fishermen was Jimmy Smith.
Bet he was onto Fleet Street before he even called us.
Most probably. He's been in and out of here since 6 a.m.
That's Jimmy. So, where are we up to?
Brown has called a meeting for 8:15 a.m.
Smashing. I've just got time to go and get a bacon sarnie from the canteen. See you
Brown-
later.
Brown wants a word with you, so make sure you're not late back.
Am I in the doghouse again?
Remember, you're still on probation. You can't just do your own thing when it suits. There are rules.
So that's a yes.
Scene 3. A briefing at the police station.
So, I'm sure you're all aware that the body of a female was pulled from the lake this morning at approximately 3 a.m. Jimmy Smith was one of the fishermen who found her. The news, unfortunately, is consequently now out there in the public domain. I hate it when we can't get there first to give the true picture.
Is she local, sir?
At the moment, we've no idea who she is. Identification is going to be extremely difficult, as her head and both her hands are missing. We put a block on Jimmy revealing this until we've had a chance to make some inquiries, so mum's the word until I say otherwise. It's all hands on deck to find the rest of her body parts. All we have so far is that she's Caucasian, she's not had any children, and is approximately 30 years of age.
How long was she in the water?
They reckon about a week. You all know your roles in matters like this, so get to it. We'll have another briefing at 5 p.m. and James, stay behind. I want a word.
Sir?
You conducted house-to-house inquiries recently after reports of a female screaming. Did you do the odds or evens?
The evens. Alderson did the odds.
Did you speak to Mr. and Mrs. Long at 42?
He was the milkman, I recall. I spoke to him, but his wife was asleep.
And you didn't think to insist on interviewing her?
Mr. Long said his wife was asleep, and I had no reason to doubt him. He invited me in and offered to wake her. He seemed genuine.
Your brief was to speak to all householders. You can't just decide who you believe is genuine and who isn't.
Sorry, sir. It was the middle of the night.
No excuses, James. You can't ignore my instructions willy-nilly.
The body in the lake. It's not...
We don't know, but Alice Long's friend Mary Shilton reported her missing last night. It could be coincidental, but it needs following up.
I'm on it, sir.
Scene 4, Mary Shilton's home.
So, Mrs. Shilton, you've reported Alice Long being a missing person.
I've just heard about the body in the lake. Please, don't tell me it's Alice.
It's very early in the investigation, I'm afraid. The body had been in the water for some time. I know this is very difficult for you, but I'd like you to answer some questions.
I'll help all I can. I'm worried sick about her.
When did you last see Mrs. Long? Did she do or say anything out of the ordinary?
It was 2 weeks ago, the 11th of February. She seemed perfectly normal. We left work together as usual at 5:30 p.m. She said she was going shopping, and she hasn't been to work nor been in contact since. I've been to her home at least half a dozen times. John didn't answer the door even though his car was in the drive. I ended up going to the dairy at 5 a.m. just to see him.
What did he say?
Some cock and bull story about her going to visit her parents in Coventry.
And you don't believe him?
Definitely not. He's lying through his teeth. I know he's hiding something. I've known Alice for 6 years, and she's never once been to visit her parents. They disapprove of John and refuse to speak to her.
Do you have her parents' address?
No, but her maiden name was Williams. I'm sure he told me she's gone to her parents because I don't know where they live. I really am worried about her. It's not like her to disappear like this. We're best friends. In fact, we're more like sisters.
Why did her parents disapprove of the marriage?
Well, he's almost 20 years older, and he's been married twice before.
What do you think of him?
I've never liked him. He's creepy and he's got a roving eye. He's also very jealous and monitors her every move.
Were there any signs of domestic violence?
I didn't see any physical signs, but I'm not convinced. I just don't trust him, and she's a lovely person and beautiful. I don't know why she married him. She could have had a pick of any number of suitable men. Here's a recent photograph of us on a works night out. He was angry that she'd come out with us. He sat in the corner of the Queen's glaring at us all night and insisted that she leave early. But Alice was so embarrassed.
When was this?
2 days before she disappeared.
May I take the photograph?
Of course. Please do your best to find her. You know, they were due to go on holiday to Mallorca tonight. Something is definitely not right. Alice wouldn't miss out on a holiday abroad. She was really looking forward to it as she hasn't flown before. She'd even bought some of those travel sickness tablets as she was a bit nervous of flying.
That's interesting. The holiday's been planned for some time.
At least 6 months.
You said he has a roving eye.
Well, not a roving eye exactly. You know, he has that way of looking at you, as if he's mentally undressing you. You know, other friends have said they feel that way too. We never said anything to Alice, but we all try to avoid him as much as possible.
This is Mr. Long's third marriage. Have you ever met either of his previous wives?
Well, the first one died of stroke, and the second one emigrated to Canada, I believe.
Were there any children?
No. Alice said she wants a child, but it just hadn't happened. He's got 2 in Canada.
Could Mrs. Long merely have left her husband? Perhaps she's having an affair.
Well, definitely not. She would never go behind John's back, and I would certainly know if there was another man on the scene. No. Something's wrong. Something must have happened to her. Something bad, and he's involved. I'm sure of it.
Did Alice have a birthmark or any other distinguishing marks?
Not that I know of. But she has a tiny butterfly in her right hand and a tiny unicorn on her left hand.
That is very helpful. Just before I go, do you know whether Mr. Long has had any other jobs, or has he always been a milkman?
Well, apparently he used to be a butcher, but that was before he met Alice.
Thank you. I'll be in touch. We'll do all we can to find your friend. I promise.
Scene 5, the police station later that night.
Well done on some good work. Brown is very pleased with you. Hopefully we can wrap this case up tonight.
Thanks, Sarge.
I see you didn't follow instructions again, James.
Sorry, sir. Once Mrs. Shilton told me that the Longs were due to go on holiday, I knew there was no time to waste. Long was just about to leave the airport when I arrived. There was no time to call for backup.
I believe he refused to accompany you to the station.
Yes, I'm afraid there was a bit of a scuffle on the doorstep, but I managed to get the cuffs on him.
If he'd have got to Mallorca, we'd have a hell of a job getting him back. Come and sit down on a second interview. So far, all he said is no comment, and he's refused a solicitor.
He's a bit of a slippery customer, sir. He definitely pulled the wool over my eyes when I interviewed him over the screens.
I see you're finally learning, James.
Sir?
For the purpose of the tape, this is an interview between Detective Wilson and John Long, who has refused the support of a solicitor. Also present is Constable James. The interview has now begun. Can you tell me, John, why you've been asked to attend this interview?
You appear to be under the delusion that my wife has disappeared and I have something to do with it.
Your wife's not been seen for more than 2 weeks. You don't seem concerned at all.
She's visiting her parents in Coventry.
We've contacted her parents. They've not seen her for years. Since she married you, in fact. How do you respond to that?
She told me she was going to see them to clear the air. I'm due to meet her at the airport in about 2 hours. I'm going on holiday to Mallorca.
When Constable James apprehended you earlier this evening, you were carrying a small suitcase containing only your holiday items. Your wife's clothes, personal effects, suitcase and passport were still in the bedroom. How do you explain that?
No comment.
Why have you not reported her missing before now?
Because she said she was going to see her parents.
And she took nothing with her.
She left while I was at work.
Have you not spoken to your wife since she left for Coventry?
Her parents don't have a telephone.
But you do. And there are plenty of telephone boxes in Coventry.
Well, my wife and I, we don't live in each other's pockets. We arranged to meet at the airport.
I've heard you're extremely jealous and possessive. And I ask you once again, how is your wife supposed to go abroad without her clothes? And more importantly, without her passport?
No comment.
You and your wife were happy. Any marital problems?
Just a few ups and downs, just like any married couple. We're very much in love.
But you're not concerned that nobody's heard or seen her for 2 weeks. You were angry she'd gone for a night out with her workmates. And female screams were heard coming from the vicinity of your house a couple of days later.
No comment.
You're a lot older than your wife, John.
What's that got to do with anything?
Your 2 previous wives, where are they?
You're the detective. You tell me.
Yes, I am, Mr. Long. And I put it to you that harm has come to your present wife, Alice, and possibly to your 2 previous wives. Harm at your hands.
No comment.
Did you murder your wife, Alice, Mr. Long?
No comment.
No comment indicates to me that you've something to hide, Mr. Long, and I believe that something is murder. You used to be a butcher.
No comment.
A set of knives were found in your house, Mr. Long, with 3 missing. Why is that, Mr. Long?
No comment.
It's my duty to let you know that your wife's body has been found. John Long, I'm formally charging you with the murder of Alice Long.
You can't charge me. You've no evidence. Oh, you might have a body, but you don't have a head and hands.
How would you know that a head and hands are missing?
I heard it on the news.
That information hasn't been released yet. Only the murderer'd know that. Why'd you kill your wife, Mr. Long? Did your intense jealousy lead to an argument? Alice wasn't in bed when Constable James knocked at your home, was she?
I demand to see a solicitor.
The end. You have been listening to Murder at Midnight here at Condor Online. The Milkman by Irene Stuart. And today's actors were portrayed by, Constable James,
Joe Matthew Morris.
Mary Shelton,
Leah Wallace.
Detective Brown,
Charles Rogan.
John Long,
Mark Porter.
and Sergeant Armstrong.
Warren Mitchell.
Thank you once again for listening to Murder at Midnight.